Dobrodošli na Descon 6 online od 27. do 31. oktobra.
Okay, good evening everyone and good afternoon. We're very happy on behalf of Descon to be doing this workshop in collaboration together with PSSOH, which otherwise stands for Application of Free Software and Open Hardware. It's a great opportunity to be here at the University in Belgrade, and we together with Vanja Stanić, my name is Željka Desiree Milošević, and together with Vanja we will tell you how to put together, how to assemble your Klimerko, which is an DIY air monitoring device that was born at Descon 2018. This year, Descon, which is otherwise an annual ecology and technology hackathon, took place online. So we had our first online edition because of COVID, and this very workshop is the only one that we're doing in person, so it feels like normal for a while. The topic of Descon this year is climate change as before, but we have focused on sustainability and low tech. And we can say that Klimerko is also somehow low tech because it's an open source and open hardware device, and it doesn't use a lot of energy to run. In order to give you a little bit of background of how we ended up here today with people assembling their own Klimerko stuff, is that we've been monitoring what's been happening around the world. And although the Descon started as an IoT and security and internet hackathon, we have moved and we changed our focus to climate change, global warming, and to see how we can address some of the challenges that we are facing. Specifically in Belgrade, air pollution is everywhere, but also in other parts of Serbia. And what we're facing as a humanity, I think, is this existential challenge to rebuild and redesign our entire society with the long-term sustainability in mind, and that's a hard task. And on this photo you can see Belgrade, and it's usually these months like end of October and November, December and January that this is a common scene of the air in Belgrade. What made us think back in 2017 at the hackathon took place in Belgrade is that this is happening all over the world. In New Zealand, a river got a legal human right because it was so polluted. So they have a new regulation where actually rivers are considered an entities, and they have their own legal rights in order to protect our environment and community. And as the community of free software and open hardware, I think I just wanted to say that Lee Felsenstein in 2018 came to Descon in Belgrade. He showed up, and we discussed what our responsibility as a community is. And I really like to share with you his advice to Greta Thunberg and friends, because we usually despair as what could be done, as all energy sources, either renewable or the current ones, are creating and actually ruining our environment and the ecosystem, the earth ecology and geography. So this is just a photo of that 2017. And Lee Felsenstein is a computer inventor, and he worked on the first personal computer, Osborne 1, in California in the United States. And he came to Descon and worked with other students who also came from the ETF here on an inductive charger, and we had a lot of fun. So I just take out some of the few kind of suggestions. What to do is that we have to remind ourselves we do have an open source, and it has to be both hardware and software. And we still have crowdfunding through the internet and disintermediation, which is actually to remove the need of a middleman in purchasing parts so that we can build devices. However, we should not be building them as in mass production, but really what should be happening is mass innovation, and only an amount that is necessary. Couple of days ago, we also have Vanja Antonić, who is a Serbian inventor, most known for Galaxia, who's now in the US. He shared with us as well a story, what is necessary to do to just combat this white paper, and how to become creative, and how to creatively and critically think about your project when you're creating something. So I suggest that you check this out. And with all of this in front of us, we have shared the GitHub code on of Klimerko. You can find it. And just at the beginning of this year, actually end of next year, pardon, we have launched something called Citizen Vazduh Građanima, RS, which is otherwise a citizen initiative, and we hope that Klimerkos that we build today will also end up on this nationwide network. So where citizens can, through open data, share the data of collected pollutants in the air in their vicinity, and that we should have a better idea about the quality of air that we breathe at a particular time. And it would be, I suggest that you look at it because the website went through a couple of reiterations, and now you can even go backwards and check an individual device, and you can go back in time and calendar and see what the air quality or air pollution was a week ago, months ago, 6 months ago. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone who has been working on this, people from Descon, the Hack Club Belgrade, and Internet Society Serbia Belgrade chapter. And we also plan to continue working on it, and therefore after this workshop we will have another session discussing the future of Klimerko and what other features and sensors we may want to add to the device, and community will join to find out. So as I said, everything is on the GitHub, but you'll hear more from Vanja once you see this video. This is the very old iteration of Vazduh Građanima map. Initially, when we only had about 20 Klimerko devices put online, and the average unfortunately wasn't counted, so you would see a cluster of the devices saying five devices, but it wouldn't show necessarily the average measure of each of the device. So in the new iteration now, you can see that the color of this cluster changes, because what it does, once you click on it, you can go to an individual device, but you can also see clearly if the color has changed to orange, red, or dark violet, which shows that the presence of particular matters in the air is quite high, and of course it's not healthy. So following the Lee Felsenstein's advice, and we believe that our responsibility and our response was to build such a device to be able to see where we live, and we are committed to do more research to find out if we're going to add more measurements to the device. We'll do a research together with SINS, and there'll be a movie which first part you will see how to assemble Klimerko, and we hope to add 40 new devices to the network. Strategically, we would be only deploying them in the most polluted locations in Serbia. So by the end of December, the research would be able to tell us exactly where those new installments should take place. And now you can follow the YouTube link where we've uploaded the step-by-step how to assemble your device. And you can also pause, which is very convenient if you're running it from end of your screen. And here in our workshop today, we have also Vanja Stanić, who has many thanks, Vanja, for creating such a wonderful video. He'll be helping you out, and he'll be here as well as myself if you get stuck with any details. So there we go. Let's start our workshop now.
Od komponenti će vam trebati Node MCU, koji je zapravo mozak Klimerko uređaja i koji se bazira na ESP8266 čipu. Potom će vam trebati Plant Tower PMS7003 senzor koji zapravo mjeri kvalitet vazduha, to jeste količinu suspendovanih čestica u vazduhu. Ali samo nemojte da skidate zaštitnu plavu foliju sa senzora jer ona pomaže da senzor bolje ulegne u 3D kućište. Također će vam trebati i ova bridge pločica koja pretvara ovaj minijaturni port na PMS senzoru u veći port sa žicama sa kojima je lakše raditi. Tu je i skup žica sa konektorima na obe strane koji uključujemo u prethodnu pločicu, a kasnije skidamo jedan od ova dva konektora jer nije potreban u ovom slučaju. Tu su i Boschovi BME280 senzori koji postoje u dvije varijante i mjeraju temperaturu, vlažnost vazduha kao i atmosferski pritisak. Naravno, treba vam samo jedan. Jedna od ove dvije varijante je sa 4 pina na sebi, to jeste 4 rupice na ploči, dok je druga varijanta sa 6 pinova na ploči, od kojih ćemo da iskoristimo samo 4, tako da u suštini nije ni bitno koju varijantu ovog senzora imate. Treba će vam i najobičniji kalaj koji će pomoći pri lemenju žica na kontakte ploča, a naravno treba će vam i lemilica sa kojom ćete da lemite ove sve kontakte. U ovom slučaju ja koristim TS100 lemilicu koja prima razne voltaže i koja je prilično mala za svoje sposobnosti, a u suštini možete da koristite bilo koju lemilicu za ovo. Treba će vam i najobičniji krstasti šraciger ili takozvani Philips šraciger kako bi fiksirali Node MCU ploču i BME280 senzor na unutrašnji dio 3D kućišta. I konačno, treba će vam i ovo 3D štampano kućište za Klimerka koje možete da odštampate na bilo kojem 3D štampaču. 3D kućište se sačinjava od dva osnovna dijela, unutrašnji i spoljašnji. Na unutrašnji dio ćete montirati sve senzore kao i Node MCU, a spoljašnji dio se koristi samo kao zaštita od vremenskih uslova. Predlažem da provjerite da li vaš lokalni hackerspace ima 3D štampač gdje biste mogli da odštampate ovo kućište, a potrebne fajlove za štampanje možete naći na GitHub stranici Klimerko projekta. I na kraju, kada sve komponente budu unutra, cijelo kućište možete da montirate na zid pomoću ovog dodatka, koji je također 3D štampan. Na GitHub stranici Klimerko projekta postoji još par varijanti držača za kućište koje su pravili korisnici Klimerko uređaja, tako da slobodno pogledajte GitHub stranicu kako biste našli onaj koji vama odgovara. Inače, na radionicama dijelimo ovakav Node MCU, znači bez pinova. A u slučaju da vi imate Node MCU sa pinovima, sad ću vam pokazati kako da ih sklonite. U suštini svaki treći ili četvrti plastični dio možete da odlomite i izvadite manjim kliještima. I onda ove preostale plastične dijelove možete da samo izvučete. Sada vidite Node MCU bez ovih plastičnih držača pinova. U ovom slučaju ja koristim Patafix ljepilo da bi fiksirao Node MCU za 100, da bi mogao da radim na pinovima. Grijemo lemilicu na 350 stepeni. Uzimate malo kalaja, stavljate na lemilicu da bi se lakše pin mogao zagrijati i odvojiti. I onda samo kliještima možete da povučete svaki pin nakon što ga zagrijete dovoljno. Otprilike 2 sekunde je dovoljno po pinu. Taj isti proces ponavljate sa druge strane i dobijate Node MCU bez pinova na sebi, koji staje kućište i zauzima dosta manje prostora nego što bi zauzima da zapravo ima pinove. Sada ćemo da pripremimo kabel koji ide u PMS senzor. Znači prvo ga uključite u bridge board kako biste vidjeli koji pin odgovara kojoj žici, a dole na slici možete da vidite koju ćemo žicu da uklonimo odavdje. Te žice što uklonimo ćemo da iskoristimo za BME 280 senzor. Drugi konektor, kao što vidite, možemo da odsiječemo zato što on ne treba u ovom slučaju i svaku žicu možete da odvojite kako bi zasebno stajale da bi lakše izvukli. Na slici gore u gornjem desnom uglu možete da vidite koje žice treba da povučete i izvadite. Znači sveukupno će vam ostati samo 4 žice na PMS senzoru. A ove žice što smo skinuli ćemo da koristimo za BME senzor. Metalne krajeve sa žica možete da odsiječete. Sada treba skinuti izolaciju sa svakog kraja svake žice, samo u slučaju gdje je konektor. Znači možete da koristite alat kao na primjer ovaj i treba da skinete otprilike 2 mm izolacije sa svake strane žice. A možete da koristite i makaze, gdje zasiječete minimalno izolaciju i onda noktom možete samo da povučete tu izolaciju. Na svakom kraju gdje je skinuta izolacija zavrnite samo žicu zato što će biti lakše kasnije kad se bude lemilo. Uključite lemilicu na 350 stepeni i samo dodajte pomalo kaleja na svaki kraj žice. Ovo će pomoći pri lemljenju na komponente kasnije. Sada ćemo da zalemimo žice koje smo skinuli sa onog kabla na ovaj BME 280 senzor. Znači slobodno uzmite te žice i provucite ih kroz prvi pin koji je VIN. Ugrijte lemilicu na 350 stepeni i držite otprilike 2-3 sekunde dok se ne zeleni. Sada stavljamo drugi, GND. Isto tu radite i sa preostala 2 pina. Boja žice nije bitna. I to je to. Zalemili ste BME 280 senzor. Naravno, ostatak žice lemimo kasnije na Node MCU. Sada prelazimo na PMS senzor. Znači, prvo uzmite žicu koja je na VCC pinu i nju lemimo na VIN pin na Node MCU. Znači, to je ovaj pin ovdje prvi što vidite. Proces lemljenja je isti. Par sekundi zadržite lemilicu na tom dijelu. I to je to. Potom lemimo GND pin koji ide na pin GND na Node MCU. Sljedeći pin po redu je RX pin i on ide na Node MCU pin D6 koji se nalazi upravo tu. Sljedeći i posljednji pin je TX koji ide na Node MCU pin D5. Sada lemimo BME 280 na Node MCU. Krećemo sa pinom VIN i on se lemi na pin 3V3. To je upravo ovaj pin na Node MCU. Možete dodati malo kaleja zato što pomaže pri lemljenju. Sljedeći pin koji lemimo je GND sa BME 280 senzora na Node MCU pin GND, odmah pored ovog prethodnog. Pripazite samo da se pinovi slučajno ne dodiraju. Sljedeći koji lemimo je pin SCL sa senzora na pin D1 na Node MCU, upravo ovaj tu. I na kraju zadnji pin koji lemimo je SDA pin i on ide na D2 na Node MCU. Ovime ste kompletirali lemljenje svih senzora na Node MCU, tako da sve po pitanju elektronike je gotovo. Možete da isključite bridgeboard iz konektora za PMS senzor. A potom možete da savijete žice da bi lakše stao Node MCU. Sada već možete da provučete senzore na drugu stranu ploče. Znači BME 280 i konektor za PMS senzor. Nakon toga možete da uključite konektor u bridgeboard za PMS senzor. Sada možete da stavite PMS senzor unutar kućišta. Samo obratite pažnju da konektor, to jeste rupica na PMS senzoru, bude okrenuta ka gore. Sada stavite Node MCU unutar 3D kućišta na rupice gdje idu šarafi i stavite 2 šarafa dijagonalno. Pripazite kada budete šarafili da ne zašarafite do kraja, jer postoji šansa da šaraf dotakne neki od pinova i napravi kuršlus. To sad zavisi od vrste šarafa koji budete koristili. Zašarafite BME 280 senzor na ovom mjestu u 3D kućištu. Također opet pripazite da šaraf ne dođe do kraja. I na kraju uključite bridgeboard u PMS 7003 senzor. Ovime ste završili sve i možete da presavijete ove žice kako bi lakše zatvorili cijelo 3D kućište. Sada uključujemo Klimerka u kompjuter, a predlažem da otvorite kućište kako biste vidjeli LED diodicu koja se uključuje kada resetujete ploču. To će vam trebati kasnije. Ok, sada otvorite Klimerko GitHub stranicu i idite na DS sa softverom. Kliknite na Arduino IDE i skinite Arduino. U slučaju da koristite Windows računar, kliknite ovaj prvi link. Nemojte skidati ovaj donji Windows app zato što ima komplikacije s njim. Kada instalirate Arduino, pokrenite ga i idite u podešavanja Arduina. U podešavanjima u Additional Board URLs kopirajte samo ovaj link. Potom kliknite OK. I onda idite u Tools, Board, Boards Manager. I ukucajte ESP8266. Instalirajte to što vam izađe od ESP8266 community-a i onda možete da skinete Klimerko Firmware sa ovog linka. Uđite u folder Klimerko Firmware i otvorite Arduino file. Potom idete u Tools, Board, ESP8266 Boards i izaberite Node MCU 1.0. Potom idete u Tools, Port i birate jedini port koji vidite na svom računaru. U ovom slučaju imam više uređaja spojenih, tako da možete da ignorišete ovo. Nakon toga kliknite Upload dugme ovdje. I onda će Arduino software da vam uploaduje firmware za Klimerka na vaše Klimerka. Kada se to završi, otvorite serial monitor, tako što ćete kliknuti ovu lupicu gore i izaberite baud rate da bude $115.200 ovdje. Sad, zato što je već prošlo neko vrijeme od kad se Klimerko bootovao, kliknite ovaj taster na njemu, reset taster, koji će da praktično resetuje cijelu ploču i onda ćete da vidite u serial monitoru ispis svih podataka iz početka. Kada vidite Project Klimerko, možete da ukucate config u gornjem dijelu i pritisnite Enter. To ulazi u konfiguracijnu stranu cijelog Klimerka gdje unosite kredencijale. Ukucajte All, što znači da podešavate i Wi-Fi i platformu kredencijale. Potom unesete ime vaše Wi-Fi mreže, kao i šifru za vašu Wi-Fi mrežu. Kada vidite Device ID, vratite se na Klimerko GitHub stranicu i idite u dio sa Cloud Platform. Kliknite na ovaj link, registrujte se na All Things Talk platformu. Kada se registrujete i uđete u vaš nalog, vidjet ćete ovaj prikaz. Kliknite na Connect a New Device i scrollujte dole dok ne nađete Klimerka. Kada njega selektujete, kreirat će vam se automatski svi aseti na koje Klimerko može da šalje informacije. Potom idite u Settings, Authentication i kopirajte ovaj Device ID i Device Token u serial monitor koji smo ranije otvorili. To unesete ovdje i pritisnite Enter. U ovom slučaju ja kucam Example i Example 4, ali vi ćete ukucati pravi Device ID i Device Token. Kad ste završili, ukucajte Yes, time potvrđujete da hoćete da sačuvate sve i Klimerko će da se restartuje u roku 3 sekunde. Nakon što se restartovao, trebalo bi da vidite da se polako spaja na internet, potom na platformu i ako dobijete poruku Your Klimerko is up and running, to znači da je spojen i da sve funkcioniše normalno. Ako sada otvorite All Things Talk platformu, nećete vidjeti nikakve podatke sa Klimerka zato što on šalje podatke na svaki 15 minuta. A taj podatak koji pošalje u 15. minutu je u stvari srednja vrijednost 10 očitanih vrijednosti tokom tih 15 minuta. Tako da možete da podesite reporting interval, što predstavlja na koliki vremenski period će da šalje podatke, na 5 minuta, tako da ćete dobiti svoje podatke ranije. U međuvremenu otvorite platformu, idite na Devices i idite na Asset Location. Namestite lokaciju svog Klimerka ili izaberite nešto što je u blizini ako vam je bitna privatnost i potom sačuvajte to tako što ćete da kliknete X. Nakon toga idite na Asset Device Height koji predstavlja visinu na kojoj je uređaj montiran. Izmijenite vrijednost unutar State text boxa tako što ćete kliknuti ovu olovkicu i u navodnicima unesete vrijednost u metrima, u ovom slučaju 5 metara. Sačuvajte tako što kliknete X i to je to. I na kraju idite u podešavanje, idite na Share Data i podijelite podatke sa vazduh građanima. Ovim putem dijelite podatke sa vašeg Klimerka na klimerko.org sajtu gdje možete da vidite vaše Klimerka i sve ostale. Ukoliko se vratite na Pinboards, vjerovatno ćete vidjeti podatke sa vašeg Klimerka zato što je u međuvremenu ih poslao. Trenutno grafikoni ne pokazuju mnogo informacija, ali ako ostavite vaše Klimerke da dovoljno dugo radi, pokazat će sve informacije tokom posljednjih 24 sata, tako da ćete moći da pogledate istorijske informacije. Ovdje desno vidite lokaciju gdje možete da zoomirate na mapi da vidite tačno gdje se nalazi. Pored toga vidite u tekstualnom obliku prikazanu vrijednost PM10 čestice, znači da li je zagađeno, da li nije. Onda pored toga imate Wi-Fi signal strength, gdje vam Klimerko govori koja je njegova kvaliteta Wi-Fi signala trenutno, kao i visinu uređaja i reporting interval koji je namješten. Također jedna zanimljiva funkcionalnost je ako kliknete Share ovdje gore i kliknete na Get Shared Link, dobit ćete link koji možete da otvorite bez da ste ulogovani na All Things Talk platformu. Ovo je korisno ako želite da podijelite podatke sa vašeg Klimerko uređaja nekome od prijatelja ili, na primjer, da podijelite na nekom od društvenih mreža. Na kraju, ako otvorite klimerko.org i ako ste podijelili podatke sa vašeg Klimerka, trebalo bi u roku 24 sata da se pojavi na mapi zajedno sa svim ostalim uređajima i da možete vidjeti podatke sa vašeg uređaja. To je to. Uspješno ste napravili i povezali vaše Klimerke. Predlažem da ga montirate negdje napolje gdje je zaštićeno od vremenskih uslova, ali gdje u isto vrijeme može da očitava kvalitetu vazduha. Naravno, za montiranje možete da koristite jedan od 3D modela koji su dostupni na Klimerko GitHub stranici.
Hi, can you see me, or can you see some presentation? It's nice to see there are some people in the room. We are here, as I said, doing the workshop, Klimerko workshop, and this time of now 20 minutes, and we can extend a few minutes later, is dedicated for our wish list. What shall we do with Klimerko 2.0? And Vanja, Stanić and myself are here also helping people assemble their Klimerko. But the idea here is to hear from the community if they wish to see new sensors, and to tell you a little bit about our plan. Currently, the Internet Society Serbia chapter, we have a project that what we think we should do, but it's really important that everyone else gets on board and to get the feedback of what we are trying to do. Very simply, we're trying to add more sensors to the network, to vazugrađanima.rs, and we are trying to add additional sensors. And so what's going to happen is we are currently measuring PM1, 2.5, and 10, and we're working with the Center for Investigative Journalism of Serbia to look at the findings that the SEPA has published, and to find out what is really missing from the measurements that the public institutions are doing, and what are the elements that aren't being measured but are critical to find the quality of air. And we'd like to test over the next 6 months to play with other sensors, carbon dioxide and natrium oxide, and probably add a few more elements. So it would be good to hear from anyone who's interested in also joining these efforts, and if they see the need for us to develop a new board and add more sensors and do more open data measurement. So with that, I like words, and from his point, if he's gonna be here on another computer anyway, and just open the floor to questions, and turn up your mic and ask a question. And the only big news we have is that currently all klimerko.org data, you can see it on a website, and the air care application is the AirCare application is taking all data of the devices that have been verified. So maybe Vanja, you can say a couple of words of how we verify Klimerko before AirCare imports the data from klimerko.org.
Okay, so basically, how does the verification work? Well, it's rather simple. We ask the users for a photo of where their device is placed, and another checkpoint is the firmware version. So it needs to be at 1.3, which is the newest firmware that mitigates the issue where high winds, or actually any kind of wind in general, creates issues for the readings, because if there's a gust of particles coming in at this point, the reading will be like really high, but the next one will be really low, so it then skews the whole readings. So in this case, the newest firmware basically just averages all the data that it gathered. So for example, if it's sending data on every 15 minutes, it's gonna do 10 readings in those 15 minutes, and the data that will be sent on the 15th minute will be the average of those 10 readings. So basically that's the requirement. That's why having 1.3.0 version of Klimerko firmware on your Klimerko is a requirement. And apart from that, also the photo, just so we can see like where it is placed, and that's about it. Also, if you guys have any questions, just write them.
Okay, so thanks, Vanja. We can see that some people that are in the room are the ones who have also made and put together Klimerko at our previous workshop we held last year. And it might be very good to hear from them if they had any feedback or any kind of wish list. So the plan going forward is to build and launch an app. And we have published a video that just gone live, how to assemble Klimerko. And maybe, Vanja, you can enter the link in the chat room as well.
For the Klimerko.org. So here's the video, but it will actually have captions in English very soon, so for the English speakers.
And yeah, the step 2 is to add additional sensors. Okay, the floor is open, so let's hear if anyone has any feedback.
How you feel? I guess there's no questions. Thanks, man. Actually, yeah.
Can you read out the question?
Yeah, the question is, any plans to make Klimerko work without Wi-Fi? For example, LoRa or something. So yeah, actually, maybe been like 6 months ago or something that I started thinking of the LoRa as a way to make to basically connect Klimerko via the network. But the most popular network right now is the Things network, but even its coverage is not that great. So for example, I think there's maybe 5 or 6 publicly visible gateways, LoRa gateways. So regarding that, I'm not so sure because, for example, most people have Wi-Fi routers and are able to like connect their Klimerko to it. Of course, the advantages of LoRa is basically you can cover like with one gateway you could cover, let's say, 3 kilometers or something if you're not really in a highly densely packed area. But the thing is that somebody who gets a Klimerko would probably not buy a gateway because it's rather expensive. It's like, let's say, the cheapest one I think is 50 or 100 euro, I think. The Things network gateway, the small one. So yeah, that's the drawback of it. But for example, in some areas that have more gateways, of course, it will be better. But still, I was talking about Belgrade, so you would kind of expect it to have more gateways, but that's not the case. So it especially would not be the case in smaller cities in Serbia and generally Balkan. So yeah, possibly is the answer. No problem.
I lost the picture again, which is fine. I'm not sure if you can see it.
Mute us.
Okay, I'm trying, but I cannot. Okay, I'm back. Now muted again.
Wait.
Okay, so that was one idea, maybe make Klimerko work with LoRa, and these obstacles that Vanja mentioned are mostly economical. So it's more expensive, but we can have a boot camp, or maybe we can have a workshop if people are interested to bring their LoRa, and maybe that's a suggestion. Also, we're thinking about making a mobile version, and for that the housing would also need to change because it will run on batteries. So more sensors, mobile version, and possibly LoRa or some other non-Wi-Fi integration.
That's actually not that bad idea. A solar-powered Klimerko.
I think Dusan mentioned that. But
yeah, but
why did we? What did we do?
Problem is, it would be interesting, but I guess not a lot of people would be able to build that by themselves. It would probably require a custom PCB, which means that we would need to sell it. Or even more complicated for a lot of people would be like giving them the files for basically developing their, sending it to China to basically print PCBs and then solder components and everything. But it is possible, and it is an interesting thought. So maybe wind powered.
Next will be thorium and
yeah, I don't know. I don't know about wind powered, but solar powered definitely could be done. But I don't see the appeal to the general public. I mean, it would be complicated, but as a product, like a complete product, it would be interesting. Create the fork.
What would be the size of wind powered?
Yeah, I'm not even sure the turbines, like how big do they need to be to generate about
they can be
3 watts, maybe.
We had a workshop on wind turbines in 2018.
Yeah, cool.
By James Nichols, and we're going to mill some turbines.
Nice. All right.
But that's a nice wish list coming from Paris. Any volunteers for a wind-powered Klimerko?
Yeah.
It just depends on your provider. And I think what also might be useful would be for, are people using Klimerko website to look at daily predictions or and daily measurements, or at the end of a day, or do they go backwards? And what would be really useful feature like to add? And would folks be using the app? We are already almost ready with the Android app for Klimerko, but just wonder how would people use the app, or do you go to AirCare anyway because all our data is there? Yeah, I don't know how people, you know, somebody wants to use a web page and somebody wants to have their own Klimerko pop-up first, which is what should be the feature on the website. So it will look at your IP address and.
No, when they're using the platform, all this stuff, when they open it up, they see their dashboard with all historical data.
Yes, and how many people actually go back to their All Things Talk dashboard?
I don't know. We need to ask the people. How many of you have your own Klimerko, and how many of you actually open up the All Things Talk platform and open the pinboard where you have like all the historical data and everything? Okay. So how do you check for the historical data of your devices?
I think we have some suggestions here from Perica to use some Echo batteries and have the phone app remind us to change them from time to time.
Yeah, that would be feasible.
What's the life of a battery?
Actually, that would by default be a feature, because you need a way to tell like how charged the battery is, and if you have that information, of course, we would forward that to the platform, so it would be available for you to see. But yeah,
And,
notifications are the problem.
Yeah, I think Voicelove has one Klimerko. He says he always goes to AirCare, but mostly he there only looks for mostly for Klimerko devices.
Okay, cool.
And to AT&T platform, he only goes for debugging. So they don't know. I mean, they don't go there on a dashboard, right? It seems to be online most of the time, and the data it sends still seems to make sense. Thank you. That's a good feedback if you think your data from your Klimerko makes sense. Obviously, are you doing some comparisons?
Yeah, regarding the sensor reliability. Here's the thing. I think by the manufacturer's specifications, I can't recall on the top of my head right now, but I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years or something. But that was considering constant use, which means that the fan is constantly spinning. And basically, the only reason why the sensor would fail is, well, basically there's 2 reasons. First of them is the fan actually blowing in particles, and along with the particles, also the dust, which actually covers the portion of the sensor which registers how many particles there are. So basically, you could open it up technically and just like turn it up. But the other issue is maybe the longevity, sorry, the longevity of the laser diode that it uses. So I'm not sure like how long can it actually stay on. But what I did to mitigate this issue in the firmware is basically the reporting interval feature. Because when you use that feature, it takes readings, but then it sleeps. So basically not the ESP device, not the node MCU, but the PMS sensor. It actually sends a command for the sensor to sleep. So when it's sleeping, the diode is off and everything is off. Oh, I just got reconnected. Okay. So what I was saying
Use
is,
my mic.
yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
they can.
So what was I saying?
So you were doing some measurements.
Yeah. So basically, the PMS sensor is sleeping, so the diode isn't active, and neither is the fan. So basically, the less often you send the data to the platform, the longer it will stay in use. I mean, stay reliable. But here's the thing: there's no way to tell if it's reliable or not if you don't compare it to another one. So yeah, my first thought was implementing a feature that would basically count how long has one sensor been active. But then again, I would have no way to like check if that's still the same sensor. So then you need to manually reset the counter. You need to save it in the EEPROM. You would also need to use the NTP for the time synchronization and a lot of stuff. So it really wasn't feasible. But let's say 2 to 3 years if you leave it on default 15 minutes.
So is anyone in the room volunteering to test out additional sensors with us? And how would you like that organized? I guess voice of saying yes.
Yeah. I mean, the possibility of a diode actually failing is like probably very low. So in like 95% of the cases, it's going to be the dust accumulation inside the enclosure. To actually open up with the whole sensor, and it's not really that complicated to open up. And once you do, you can actually see the chamber where you can see the laser and the photoresistor, well, some kind of photoresistor. And basically the dust accumulates in that system. But what Plant Tower actually did with this newest revision, which is the 703, is they kind of designed it cleverly. So the dust actually kind of like accumulates on all the other parts with minimal impact on the chamber where it actually detects the particles. So that's why it's the improvement over the 5003 and the 3003, apart from the size, of course. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely for a few years we think it could work, and but we should open after this to see how much dust particles compare it to the new ones, so that maybe we get some data as to how reliable. It depends where it is, and maybe we can compare the one that was positioned in an area that was constantly above the average polluted place. And
yeah, that could make the difference. But also, highly polluted place. Let's say it's constantly like 60 micrograms per cubic meter. You wouldn't see much accumulation of dust if it's not a dusty area. You can have air pollution without like the usual household dust, for example, heat dust or something like that. So,
and the fan, did you say the fan would also maybe stop working? Is that?
I'm not sure about the lifespan of the fan.
Yeah, the lifespan of the fan. Well, what we would definitely like to, I know we started a little bit late because of technical issues, so we have a few more minutes to go. We'd like to form a new Discord room and to share it with all the participants that were at least joined us today and here at the workshop. Maybe if you'd like to sign up and test with us some of the sensors beginning of next year, once we know which one we're going to get. And that would be a really nice community effort.
Yeah. And also a question like how many people actually want to join the Discord room and like discuss your experiences maybe?
It feels empty sometimes, and so you get these peaks and troughs of interest when something's not working. But otherwise, idea is to have the sensors placed by the end of 2021 in the most critical parts. And here I think mind the peg bore and some of those most polluted areas where we have not extended the network. We are well covered in Belgrade and a couple of those in Smederevo, as you know, and some in Novi Sad, and folks in Bosnia also want, so I think we could accept. So have feedback once we get the app running. We would need to debug it, so I don't know if we're going to when we're going to announce it, bring some debugging and help. It's probably going to happen by the end of this year, so even sooner, but I don't want to be too enthusiastic because there's still things to be finished. Okay, with that, I'd like to thank you very, very much for being part of the Klimerko community and for taking to join and discuss with us what we thought was important. So you put some great suggestions, and we'll come back to you and ping you to work on the solar-powered Klimerko. And if connection gets any better, you'll be able to see it about me. So with that, it says I'm disconnected and messages cannot be sent. So I'm not sure if you're hearing me. Discord is a good idea, so definitely send you that. You know, you always send us an email to either DM message at Descon Twitter handle, or you can send an email at descon.me. So we'll be there.
Also, stay here for a second. I'm going to share the link for the Discord channel.
For the current one, or?
Yeah, that's cool.
I cannot join or do anything.
Oh well.
It's okay.
Just a second. Okay, here's the link for everybody who wants to use the Discord channel. You can write your experiences there, or talk to me directly if you have any issues or whatever. So, yeah, that's it. Ah, right, Nazira got disconnected. Anyways, guys, thank you for joining, and that's been it. Have a good evening. Bye.
Either staan. Hi, everyone. Thanks for staying in the room and staying for our very last session this week. It's been a long week, and we hope you got at least something, if not a lot, out of this Descon 6.0 online experience. So we've just finished our community Klimerko 2.0 discussion, and we have a couple of fun things before we say the Descon is finally closed, and that is to announce the winner of the Capture the Flag competition as of last night. So they still have about probably 40 minutes to go because the competition may run up to 8. So what we have decided is that we will announce the winner once we complete the CTF, and we will send an email to the person or the group who has won and who has captured the flag. So with that, I think this is a time really to again get some feedback from everyone who has been so patient and willing to log in even today on Saturday to really discuss what were their experiences. Maybe we will also nag you to send a sentence or two to see what you liked and what you like to hear more of, and whether the ideas we expose to of sustainability and low tech, whether it tickled your fancy, and if there are projects you'd like to share with us, and if you'd like to see someone in the future. So with that, I open the floor to questions. Going once, going twice, going third time.
Hello, everyone.
You can also turn on your mic or type in a chat room.
Yeah, hello,
I
Des.
think someone's trying to speak, but I do not hear them. Perica, do you want to say something?
Yeah, hello, Des. Do you hear me now? Okay.
Maybe you hear Perica, but I don't. Okay, so that's
So
something.
the announcement is that, yeah, we had some troubles with our CTF server and CTF platform today. And we
I
fixed
assume
it one
Perica
moment.
is speaking.
Yeah. So there are some issues right now, but we will announce the winner, and the winner will have like award. We will contact the winner via email and we will give him an award. So we pretty much at this point know who is the winner, and he'll be contacted by us later.
I could see that Perica is typing. Okay, yes, it's better. Thank you, Peter. I haven't heard what you said, but I could only think that you have said something about capture the flag and how many teams there were, and how it's all going. But maybe it's useful to type it in the chat. If I said anything wrongly, I could not hear you, but I understand you hear me. And I believe that I would like to thank everyone at the Hack Club Belgrade. I'd like to, oh, Petra, you're sharing something? I see you taking a presenter's role, so I assume you wanted to share something. But we have, we'll share the stats with you, and we'd like to go back to the Descon team that has put this event on a very tight schedule. We're sort of happy with how the Big Blue Button server behaved, and although there's some issues, we really thank you for your patience and with this experiment that we're all doing together. And yes, okay, that's exciting. We have congratulations to RAF B17. Unless, no, that's B01Z. Boys, of course. RAF Boys won the competition. Congratulations. We will send the awards as well to the team as we are making here Klimerkos. One will be with them, and also the book, and some masks and T-shirts and all of that. Congratulations. Well done for the win.
Yes, so
And okay, sometimes it feels a little bit lonely. You see, there's no Descon map here, but we are here connected with a lot of people who are working on Klimerko. So I'm going to share the atmosphere because it's quite nice, and we'll have many of them ready soon. So you can say hi because it's the end of Descon 6.0. And so the team who put together the Capture the Flag will make a video of all the steps of going through to win, and of all the challenges, and they'll post them on social media. So great stuff. And only in a few days we will also make all the recordings chopped and sent to the YouTube channel, and we will also create a media room with all the PDFs of presentation, which we hope to send to you as well. So there were 4 out of 20 challenges not solved. So just for educational purpose, we will share all the challenges and postings how you were able to, should have been able to solve those challenges too. Sounds like a very tough CTF. So with that, I think we can gain maybe 10 minutes of our Saturday if we finish early. And I have maybe forgotten to thank everyone again for being here, and .rs, who is our sponsor, and .me, and all the team volunteers, Milica, Čubrilović, Jana Vukčević, and I won't start naming all the people like Peter and folks from Tilda and so on, Hakla Belgrade and Vanja and Dusan, and the list is long, but it's a real pleasure to be able to do this with your help, and we'll see you online. That's all.
Descon 6 online od 27. do 31. oktobra.